Welcome to FlyEaglesFly News, where Eagles fans get the latest, fastest, and hottest updates. Hit subscribe and fly high with us. Nobody saw this coming, and that's exactly why the entire NFL world is on fire right now. The Philadelphia Eagles, a team that built its modern identity around the electric, dual-threat quarterback Jalen Hurts, have just made the move that no fan dared to imagine. They've cut their star. Yes, Jalen Hurts is out of Philadelphia. It sounds unreal, like one of those off-season rumors that start on Reddit at 2 in the morning, but multiple whispers from inside the Novacare complex suggest this isn't just smoke. This is a full-blown fire. For a city that lives and breathes football like Philly, losing Hurts isn't just a roster move. It's a cultural earthquake. The fans are already divided. Some claim this is a betrayal of everything the Eagles stood for, while others insist something must have gone down behind the scenes. The question now isn't just why this happened, but how a relationship that seemed so unbreakable could crumble overnight. After all, Hurts wasn't just the face of the franchise. He was the pulse of the team, the embodiment of that gritty, relentless Philadelphia spirit that made them contenders year after year. Rumors are flying faster than Hurts used to escape the pocket. Some insiders are whispering about locker room tension, subtle clashes between Hurts and the coaching staff, and even disagreements over offensive philosophy that apparently boiled over after the team's recent struggles. There's talk that Hurts wanted more control, more say in play calling, more input on offensive structure, maybe even a seat at the table when personnel decisions were being made. That kind of ambition isn't new for star quarterbacks, but it can become explosive in a franchise like the Eagles, where power dynamics shift with every headline. There's also speculation about the team's cap situation, big contracts, shrinking flexibility, and the constant pressure to rebuild around younger, cheaper talent. Maybe the Eagles looked at the numbers and saw no way out. Maybe they decided that the future meant cutting ties with the present. Either way, what's happening in Philly feels like the beginning of a new era, one that nobody, absolutely nobody, thought would start this way. The Eagles' front office has been silent, but silence speaks volumes. Usually, when something this seismic happens, you see an immediate press release, a tribute video, some kind of statement thanking the player for everything. This time, nothing but the sound of disbelief echoing across the league. The beat reporters covering the team are scrambling to piece together what led to this decision, and sources are saying that the atmosphere inside the Eagles' facility has been tense for weeks. Apparently, there were meetings behind closed doors, heated discussions, and even moments where Hurts reportedly stormed out after disagreements over the direction of the offense. When you mix passion with frustration, something's bound to explode. And maybe that's exactly what we're seeing, the detonation of a partnership that once looked unstoppable. What makes it even more surreal is that Hurts was still publicly backing his team days ago, telling reporters he was all in on finishing the season strong. Either something drastic happened between then and now, or the writing had been on the wall much longer than anyone realized. Fans in Philadelphia are processing this like a breakup they didn't see coming. They're hurt, confused, and angry, all at once. The city that once chanted Hurts' name now feels betrayed by its own front office. Some say this decision will haunt the franchise for years. Others believe it's a bold move toward a complete rebuild. Talk shows are going wild. Social media is in chaos, and every sports analyst in America has suddenly turned into a Philly psychologist. There's speculation that Hurts' departure could trigger an exodus of other key players, veterans who signed up to win with him, not without him. And then there's the emotional side. This isn't just about touchdowns and passing yards, it's about identity. Hurts represented hope, toughness, and belief. He was the guy who picked up his team when things went wrong, who never backed down from the spotlight. Losing him doesn't just change the playbook. It changes the entire soul of the franchise. And that's something stats can't measure, no matter how you slice it. Behind the scenes, whispers suggest that Jalen Hurts didn't go quietly. Sources close to the team claim the quarterback confronted management directly, demanding clarity about his future after weeks of mixed messages. Some insiders say he felt disrespected, not by the fans, but by the people running the show. He wanted reassurance that the franchise still believed in him as the long-term leader, and apparently, he didn't get the answer he hoped for. It's been said that Hurts left the facility for the last time with little more than a nod to his teammates, A moment so heavy that even veteran players were reportedly stunned into silence. Nobody expected this. Not the coaches, not the fans, and certainly not the locker room that rallied around him for so long. There's a growing sense that the Eagles may have underestimated the backlash this would create, both inside and outside the organization. If they thought this was just business, they're about to find out how personal football really is in Philadelphia. And now, everyone's asking the same question. What's next for Jalen Hurts? The rumor mill is spinning like crazy, linking him to half a dozen teams already. Could it be the Falcons, desperate for leadership? The Raiders, looking to make a splash? Maybe even the Vikings, who've been eyeing a dynamic quarterback for their next chapter? Wherever he goes, Hurts won't just be another free agent. He'll be the story of the offseason, the biggest name on the market. But for the Eagles, the story is different. They're now a team without an identity, a contender without its heartbeat. Maybe they have a plan, maybe they don't, but one thing's for sure. They just changed the entire NFL landscape with one move. And the fallout? It's only just beginning. The ripple effect of Jalen Hurts' shocking release is spreading fast, and the NFL world is reacting in real time. Inside Philly, there's chaos. Reporters are camping outside the training facility. Fans are burning jerseys in disbelief. And the sports radio lines are jammed with callers shouting everything from "Fire Howie Roseman" to "Bring Hurts back." It's pandemonium. Meanwhile, national insiders are digging for details, trying to piece together the real story behind the decision. Some believe this was all financial, a cold calculation to reset the salary cap and prepare for a rebuild. Others insist it's deeper than money, that it's about ego, control, and a power struggle that had been brewing for months. The timing couldn't be worse either. The Eagles were still in playoff contention, and cutting your franchise quarterback mid-season feels like pulling the plug on your own season. Yet here we are, watching one of the most shocking mid-year twists in NFL history unfold right before our eyes. Behind the curtain, league executives are watching closely, because this could change how teams handle star players going forward. The Jalen Hurts situation feels like a case study in how fast loyalty evaporates in modern sports. One day you're the face of the franchise, the guy on every billboard, the player whose jersey kids wear to school, and the next, you're out, just like that. The Eagles built their identity around Hurts' leadership, his grit, and his ability to rise in clutch moments. Now they're gambling that they can replace all that with something new, something cheaper, something different. But here's the thing. You can't buy leadership in free agency. You can't replace charisma or trust in the locker room. Those things are earned, not drafted. If the Eagles' front office miscalculated here, if they truly underestimated how much Hurts meant to the team's chemistry, they might have just set the franchise back years, not seasons. There's also the question of how Hurts himself will respond. Knowing his personality, he's not the type to air dirty laundry in public, but you can bet he's taking notes. This is a guy who thrives on proving people wrong. Every chapter of his career has been built on overcoming doubt, from Alabama to Oklahoma, from being a backup to becoming an MVP candidate. If the Eagles thought cutting him would make him fade quietly, they don't know Jalen Hurts. He's going to use this as fuel, as motivation to come back stronger than ever. Wherever he lands, you can expect fireworks. Imagine Hurts leading a rival NFC team next season, coming back to Lincoln Financial Field and lighting up the scoreboard against his former team. The storylines write themselves, and honestly, that's the kind of drama the NFL lives for. You can feel it already. This isn't the end of Hurts' story. It's the beginning of his revenge arc. Meanwhile, in the Eagles' locker room, things are tense. Players are trying to stay professional, but you can sense the unease. Leaders like Jason Kelce and A.J. Brown have reportedly been shaken by the move. Social media posts are cryptic, filled with emojis and vague phrases like, "Loyalty isn't what it used to be." When veterans start posting like that, it usually means they're not happy. You can't just erase a guy like Hurts from a locker room and expect things to stay the same. He wasn't just a quarterback, he was the emotional anchor, the voice that calmed chaos. Without him, this team feels like it's drifting. And unless the front office moves fast to stabilize things, the season could spiral. The locker room might not say it out loud, but everyone's thinking it. This feels like a betrayal. For a franchise that prides itself on being united, that's a dangerous vibe to let fester. On the business side, this move could have massive ripple effects across the league. Sponsors, endorsements, media deals, everyone's recalibrating. Jalen Hurts was marketable, polished, and beloved by fans. Losing him doesn't just hurt the team's performance, it dents their brand. The Eagles were one of the NFL's top draws, with primetime slots and massive national attention. Without Hurts, that spotlight could fade fast. Meanwhile, whichever team signs him next is about to cash in big time. Jersey sales will skyrocket, fan engagement will explode, and suddenly, that team becomes must-watch TV. In today's NFL, star power equals revenue, and the Eagles just let theirs walk away. Some analysts are calling it the biggest front office blunder since the Seahawks traded away Russell Wilson, and that's saying something. The financial fallout might not be immediate, but make no mistake, the ripple effect will hit hard. FlyEaglesFly News family, smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments, and let's talk birds. And finally, the emotional side of it all. For the city of Philadelphia, this isn't just about losing a player, it's about losing a symbol. Jalen Hurts embodied everything the city stands for: toughness, perseverance, resilience. He played through injuries, took responsibility for losses, and never once threw anyone under the bus. That's rare in sports today. Philly embraced him because he wasn't just talented, he was authentic. And now, that bond is broken. Fans feel betrayed, and it's going to take a long time, maybe years, to rebuild that trust. Maybe this will all make sense someday. Maybe there's a bigger plan behind closed doors. But right now, it feels like heartbreak. Philly didn't just lose a quarterback. They lost their heartbeat. And in a city that bleeds green, that's a wound that won't heal anytime soon. Experts continue to speculate on the potential long-term consequences, suggesting that the league's admission could catalyze broader reforms, while also influencing the behavior of teams, referees, and players across the board. Rivals are said to be evaluating strategies to adapt to a landscape where past mistakes may be publicly acknowledged, potentially impacting playoff dynamics and competitive integrity. The Eagles, meanwhile, appear to be balancing celebration with discipline, recognizing the rare fortune of their situation while preparing for heightened scrutiny in every subsequent game. Media coverage remains intense, with analysis, speculation, and debate dominating the conversation across platforms, from social media to televised sports networks. Fans continue to dissect video, statements, and league communications, generating a nearly constant stream of opinion, commentary, and heated debate. Conspiracy theories, strategic speculation, and moral arguments coexist in this intense discourse, reflecting both the complexity of the situation and the passion of modern sports audiences. For the Eagles, the challenge now is to convert this controversial advantage into tangible success on the field, navigating both the psychological and practical implications of a historic moment that will be remembered, discussed, and analyzed long after the final whistle blows. The broader implications of the league's reversal are now coming into sharper focus, as analysts suggest that playoff predictions, team strategies, and even draft planning may be subtly affected by this single incident. Rival teams reportedly feel the pressure to adjust their approach, knowing that the integrity of prior games and officiating decisions can now be questioned with renewed vigor. Meanwhile, Eagles coaches are said to be leveraging the situation as a motivational tool, framing the league's rare acknowledgement as both a psychological boost and a reminder of the thin margins that define victory and defeat in professional football. Fans, especially those of rival teams, continue to debate the fairness of retroactive decisions, highlighting perceived inconsistencies while fueling a media storm that shows no signs of abating. Commentators speculate that this moment may even influence the league's long-term approach to officiating, reviews, and transparency, potentially creating precedents for future seasons. Social media remains a battleground, with each new leak, statement, or expert opinion sparking waves of analysis, disagreement, and fervent discussion. The Eagles, meanwhile, continue their season with heightened attention, aware that every play, every press interaction, and every decision will be examined in the context of this historic controversy, a reminder that in the modern NFL, a single moment can redefine narratives, rivalries, and reputations with dramatic and lasting consequences. That's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you want the fastest Eagles updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments. Let's talk birds.